This is Ali, Season 1, Episode 1. Today I have Jose Antonio Velasquez. He is my oldest brother. You might notice he kind of looks like me. I'm excited to have you and excited you're here. Who is Antonio Velasquez?
Yeah. I would like to say I am honored to be on the podcast, and I'm really looking forward to spending this time together and hopefully share some things I've learned kind of along the way. On a more personal note, I do want to say that I'm proud of you, and it's not easy doing something that that you've never done before. It's also easy to not do anything to contribute to society, but you're out there doing both. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. Proud of you. I'm excited to see where you'll go with this and many other ventures that you're gonna go on. So once again, very proud of you, Damo. So um, once again, I'm excited to see this go. So, I guess to answer your question, when you sent the proposed outline of the podcast, um, eh, you know, she did. I mean, keep in mind she did give me free reign to this. So who knows where we'll go with this? But when you gave me the outline and I was reviewing it, um, it's a good exercise, because you have it divided. The outline's divided in three sections. Who is Antonio Velasquez, right? Who was Antonio Velasquez, and who is Antonio Velasquez becoming? And I think those it gave me some homework to do, and I think for those listening and watching, it's a good exercise to do just in general, to take the time to reflect on your life and figure out who you are today, um, and also learn from who you were in the past, and then who you're looking to become. And one of the things, like, if it all looks the same, then there's probably some changes that you need to make. If you are the same person you were a year ago, or if you were the same person you were 5 years ago, then that's probably something that you need to change, right? So I think it's a good exercise for anybody to do, and I appreciate the way that it's outlined for sure. And so here's just a podcast of me doing my homework and figuring out. Once again, it was a pretty cool thing. So I guess we'll start with who is Antonio Velasquez. So I am a proud Guatemalan American. Was born in Charleston. My parents immigrated, or our parents immigrated from Guatemala over 30 years ago. They worked their butts off to provide a roof over our head, food on the table. Taught us a lot of things, or taught me a lot of things that to this day, I still implement in my life. And more importantly, they showed us love. I reflect a lot of the times of how we grew up, and I can say I'm happy to be part of my family. So, and they are a reason I pursue some of my goals, today. They're a motivation for sure, along with a few other things of why I'm trying to pursue, certain things in life. So shout out to my mom and dad. I'm a husband and father. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Jasmine, for 7 years. We've been together for 9. I'm a papi to Z, my daughter. Shout out to Jasmine and Z. And then Facebook broke out the news that we're expecting another one, another girl. So super excited to do that, to have all girls so far. And it just gives me more of a reason to become a better version of myself. And so that my daughters are able to set the standards high, when looking for their partner. I'm a brother, primo, tío. Shout out to my family in Indiana. Another thing of who I am a business owner. I own the Velasquez Company. Thanks for
Yeah,
wearing the merch.
have it on today. Took away that name for whatever it is I want to start in the
Yeah,
future. So
yeah. Sorry. Sometimes you got to implement imperfect action,
yeah, yeah.
and just do it. But the Velasquez Company specializes in residential and commercial painting. We have been in business for going on 3 years this October, and we have completed hundreds of projects in the area, both residential and commercial. I definitely want to become the go-to painting company here in the Low Country, so have a lot of goals. But yeah, that's currently where I'm at the moment as far as who I am.
I think you're forgetting something, and I think that's a community leader. I would say you just had an event as of recently, right? And you had a few young men, if you want to talk on that. Because I would say, right, one thing that I would like to focus and push on this platform is don't sell yourself short. Like there's more to it, and there's names to it too. And I would like very proudly say and identify it as a community leader. So if you want to talk on that, and I'm sure you want to do things in the future as well. So
Yeah. So I've always wanted to inspire people to do more, and we did hold a small event, I would say 2 weeks ago now. We had 8 young men show up. We also had three speakers that took the time out of the day to go and teach these young men. It was pretty awesome. I didn't know when the idea came to me, I didn't think anybody was going to show up, but I knew that like even if one person showed up, then it was going to be worth it. So it was really good to bring other guys from the community to go over. We went over mindset, we went over discipline and routines, and we talked about faith lastly. And it was just good to be around that mentality and that positivity, and be able to encourage these young people to let them know that there's more to life, and then there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's just a matter of working on yourself, becoming a better version of yourself. And so I met a guy named Tim, and he actually is a teacher at Summerville High, and he shared that he wanted to do some kind of event there. So I'm definitely going to look into going with him as well, and possibly put on something more, and just to be a resource to young people, and so that way they know that they're not at this alone.
yeah, no, I think our community is very blessed to have someone like you, especially with the desire to help. I think that's the biggest thing. So I'm excited to see what you continue to do in other events that you either host alone or co-host. So, you gave us a picture, who you are right now. This is a snapshot, right? This is Antonio Velasquez's balance sheet. This is what you are at this moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who was Antonio Velasquez?
Yeah. That's once again taking the time to reflect. You think about the good, the bad, the ugly, and I think sometimes it's easy to see somebody in a position of success or authority and think that, man, they have all their stuff together. But it's not. It's never the case, right? There's always something that builds, or struggles, or mistakes they've made. And definitely I'm not to say that I'm already up here, by no means, but there are some things I do want to share that have made me who I am today, and also maybe something that people can relate to. So definitely want to open up about that. So one things that I wanted to open up about was that for a little period of time, or even, and some of it is just spotty. It wasn't like overall I felt this way, but for a little bit of time I was embarrassed. I want to say ashamed, because I feel ashamed was too strong of a word, but I can't say that I'm embarrassed of my culture as far as the being Hispanic, and And I guess in order for people to get a better picture of that, is that they got to realize that, I was born in Charleston, grew up here. It's nothing like Chicago or, the big cities in California where there's a bigger population of Hispanics. Here it was like, it was just a different time. Now it's definitely a lot more compared to what it was, in the 90s, early 2000s, where it was crazy just to see another brown person, walking around in Walmart. Or, I mean, besides your immediate family, right? So,
Right.
but it was, so I would say my culture was, and I mean, it's Hispanic, and I grew up in a southern state, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I love Charleston. I love South Carolina. I love the people here. I love the setting. It's an awesome place to live. But I will say there was some of those times where I was a little bit embarrassed to speak Spanish in front of my non-speaking Spanish friends. I remember in middle school, high school, mom would pack lunch, and my lunch was always different than the other kids.
Yeah.
Normal kids had Lunchables, sandwiches, and I have tortillas, arroz con frijoles, tostadas or whatever mom had packed for us that day. And always had students, and I wouldn't say I was ever ridiculed or anything like that, but you definitely stand out. People ask you, hey, what do you got for lunch today? And now, or even then, I realized that I was the lucky one, to have those kinds of to have my mom get up early, make us hot lunch for the day. Now it was most days. It wasn't every day, because sometimes she had a rush to get to work and whatnot. But I will say a lot of the times we had lunches that were made the day of, so it was pretty cool. So definitely one of the lucky ones. But I would say those are just some examples of why I was, at the time I felt slightly embarrassed because of my culture. Now I've definitely learned to embrace it, or as I got older, not just now, but as I got older, I've definitely learned to embrace my culture and, be a proud Hispanic Guatemalan, and not be ashamed at all, because it's who I am. It's part of the bloods that run through my veins. And there's nothing I can do that would make me want to change it or even change it, So I think it's, as time passes by, you had to learn to embrace it, And I can't even imagine what, our parents, how they felt, coming here, So definitely super proud of who I am. I'm also very proud to be American as well. But then you get ridicule from the other side. Oh, but you're not American, right? And so you can't win either way. So you might as well be proud of who you are, And I'm definitely proud of being a Guatemalan American.
Yeah, and I think that that's a conversation that's being had a bit more within, I would say, mainstream media of what does it mean to be Mexican American or Guatemalan American, because you're right, you have a conversation from someone that, probably an exchange student, or you have a conversation with someone that came to the States to work. And they're like, and I've gotten it in the past, oh, you're not Latina, you're American. And, for quite a bit, I was like, but I love my culture and I love my people, and I love, everything that comes with it, the food, the music, dancing, right? It's just, I am Latina and I feel
Yeah.
it, and I want to help my community, but I think that conversation is being had quite a bit of what it means and being comfortable with being right, Guatemalan American, Mexican American. So
Hmm.
it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for those who, you know, are in that position to where like vice versa, whatever way, you know, your experience, to just learn that you are both, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You don't have to hide either side. You know, you are like just being able to embrace both,
Mm-hmm.
you know. As far as to those who can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are American, and but you're also Mexican, Guatemalan, Cuban, you know,
Right.
Honduran. I wish I can shout out all the countries. Brazilian, you know. So
Yeah. No, most definitely. Most definitely. Any other moments where you felt like I would even say a turning point in your life where you said, okay, I don't want to be in the state of being that I'm currently in. I want to do more because you had other jobs prior to where you're at now.
yeah. So I guess we're still talking about who I was as you know, in the past, and then relating to the point you brought up, you know, our parents taught us to be hardworking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember, you know, at the age of 8, my mom would, you know, taught me and my brother to do our own laundry. So at the age of 8, we would do our own laundry. You know, and then we got a little older. My dad would take us to work. I remember one time where, and he worked third shift, so like while most kids were, you know, sleeping in or whatnot, my brother and we had to go work at night,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I remember, like, I think I was maybe 11, 12, and I don't know, maybe even 13. So I thought I was going to outsmart dad, and I wasn't going to go to work because I just didn't feel like going. It was nighttime, you know, I should be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I don't even know what was going on in my head at the time. But I thought that if I hid in the closet, he would come to our room and he would see that I wasn't there and he would just leave, you know? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
he's not here. So, which, like, as a parent now, like, if my kid's not there, it's not just going to be like, oh, well, who cares, right? Gotta go, you know? So I don't know what I was thinking, right? But I feel like I was younger. I mean, so, nope, he came into the room. He looked around, you know, went to the truck. My brother got in the truck. Then he came back out and he found me in the closet laying down. And obviously I had to get ready, get to work, and took us to work. So he really taught us, you know, to work hard. You know, I remember one of the things that I remember vividly is he would tell people, like, my sons work harder than, you know, some of the guys that I have on my crew. You know, and I remember at those moments I remember feeling proud, like, you know, that's like we're the real deal, you know.
Yeah.
But and who knows, maybe he was just, you know, gassing those up
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But you know, at those times, I really felt like, and that's carried on throughout my whole life. You know, I've
Mm-hmm.
always had, you know, in my 20s, I've had most of the time ever since I met my wife 9 years ago. She's like, as long as I remember, you have 2 jobs. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's times I've had 3 jobs. You know, and there was never a moment where I think I was without a job for, you know, a month or two. But there, other than that, there was really no time where I just wasn't, you know, working. I've done things such as cleaning trailer tankers. We've cleaned floors with my
Mm-hmm.
dad. I even did that when I moved to Indiana. I worked at a tire shop changing tires. I've worked as a forklift driver. unloading trucks. I've done framing. I was an insurance agent, and was a store manager, drove buses for schools and weddings. So I've kind of gotten into a bunch of things, one because I learned to work hard, and then just out of necessity had to. I think that's one of the good things that I appreciate my parents. I do contribute, my dad because he's the one that took us, but also my mom because she's always worked, so she's definitely been that example of hardworking, and on occasions I did go to work with my mom, but it was mainly with dad. But either way, both good examples of hardworking individuals.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I would even say that that's the concept of, I mean, and there are parents, but the concept of mentorship is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently. I was asked recently, who is the person in your life that you like aspire to be like, or is in a position that you want to be in the future? Do you have someone? Is there someone in close contact, someone within your network, someone within LinkedIn, someone within the company you're working in? And I sit there and I think to myself, right, in corporate America, when I did have a small time within there was probably one Latina woman, and she left the company, which was sad because I like finally found a mentor. And I think we had met like 2, 3, 4 times, and I spoken to her about what she was doing in her career, and she left the company. But that was the first time in my life where I was like, this individual is in a position that I want to be in from a professional standpoint, right? And then what was disheartening when she left, but she did it for the best of her and her family. But the concept of mentorship, like, is there someone in your life? Was there someone in your life? And I don't know if it's probably our personal experience and our family experience, or where we're at or where we're located, but did you ever feel growing up, there is this person that I want to be like, and I'm setting consistent touch points with them, where it's once a month I'm having a call with them of like, hey, listen, I've encountered this. What's your tip? Like, what do you think I should do? Maybe it's a career move. Maybe it's hey, you should do this, you should do that, or you should try this program, or you should do this when starting a business. Did you ever have someone like that in your life that you turned to?
I mean, besides having examples kind of around me, I don't know if I've ever had, people who said, I'm willing, or, or that were approachable, I guess would be, because sometimes, you see people who you want to be in the future, and they just seem like they're a politician. You can't reach out to them, and then sometimes these people are super busy too. So I don't know, maybe I should have seeked it out even more to find those individuals, and really be consistent, because I think you can definitely grab the attention of these people if you show them that you're not just somebody who's just going to ask them some questions and it's just going to be gone with the wind. You're never going to apply it. You're never going to do anything with it. You're just essentially wasting their time, right? So I think that if looking back, that's probably one of the things that I would have done more, is seek out mentorship or seek out some advice. Now, there are some people that I will say that has helped me make that leap out into entrepreneurship, starting my own business. So certain conversations that I had. So I guess kind of mentorship, but a lot of it has been, listening to audiobooks, finding YouTube videos of individuals who are putting out great content out there that can motivate you, and they share, basic principles to get to, to get you to where you want to be. And I think that's having YouTube and podcasts and all kinds of stuff that you can tap into would definitely be a start. You know, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have somebody who is being an example for you, or you find yourself in an environment where nobody has any motivation or any commitment to go out there and do something great, then you can tap into like stuff like that, YouTube channels, different personalities out there that are sharing a lot of good stuff out there. And I will say that that has been a contribution to where I'm at, you know, and where I'm currently going. Is tapping into a lot of that stuff. But it definitely helps to have somebody, to seek somebody out in your community that is going to keep you accountable. That's one thing that even today I'm working on, you know, is getting some kind of accountability in your life. You know, I've always considered myself a free spirit. I don't really like setting a schedule, or didn't really like setting a schedule or a routine or nothing like that. I was just like, oh, whatever happens, happens. But the truth is, having a schedule, having a routine is going to free you up way more than just winging it and just doing whatever happens, you know? But yeah, I think finding somebody who's going to keep you accountable in your community, whether it's a friend, a mentor, your parents, an older sibling, a younger sibling, doesn't matter. I think that's something that is really a key to help you reach your goals and help you succeed, is having some kind of accountability.
Yeah, and that's something that I would just encourage people to do, is if someone's in a position that you aspire to be in, reach out to them. Try to have a conversation with them. I can't tell you how many times I've had coffee with people that probably should have said no or ignored my message, to be honest, right? But, you know, I caught them on a good day, caught them at a good time. They were also good people. They had conversations with me. They spoke to me about, you know, where they're at, how they got there. And that was, like, for me, I feel like that was what really helped me. I feel like, and also the goal of this podcast is, sometimes it's a 5-minute conversation with someone where they give you a little bit about their brain and their experiences and everything you've done, right? Obviously, this is 45 minutes, but you're sharing with us your story, your journey. And that within itself is extremely powerful. And hopefully, right, people that are accessing this information, it's a form of mentorship. It's perhaps indirect, right? Because you're not having a direct conversation with them. It's not one-to-one, but you're dropping, right, knowledge on us and giving us information that is helpful and is relatable. And I think that, like, that's extremely, like, beneficial to me personally, right? And even if only one person is listening to this, to that one person as well, or to, right, Karina Victoria Lopez, that's on our audio and our video, but that's helpful. And it's helpful, like, the power of not gatekeeping information is so important, because so many people, I'm sure there are so many people that aspire to be where you're at, right? And sharing a little bit of knowledge of, have a schedule, have a routine, be disciplined, right? Try different things until you find what you love or what you like or what you're good at, and then go do it. That right there is just like, and how old are you?
32.
32, man. And, you know, whenever we have conversations, what I hear from you is, I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Right? Some people, especially with where we're at from a media standpoint, think, okay, I have this idea, I'm going to develop it overnight, and then I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Right.
Yeah.
Which is not how it works. And I could testify to it, because I think from my perspective, sometimes I want to have a fast timeline and I want to have, right, this by next week. But reality is, the podcast is going to have to take 100, maybe 100 episodes before we're, like, actually in a spot where the community is engaged, right?
Yeah.
So just consistency is so critical. So Is there anything else you want to share as far as from a standpoint of who you were and more about your journey?
The last thing I want to go over with is always had a vision, and still do, right? But talking about who I was as an individual, like I always had a vision that there was something else more for me than where I was at that current moment, you know. And sometimes it's hard to keep that vision in focus because, I'll give you some examples. Like I remember being in Indiana and, I didn't have much money, barely could pay my school bill, and I had to do laundry. And I thought I had enough money to do my clothes, but so I remember, and it's so vivid because like those are some feelings that you kind of keep with you. Um, but I remember washing my clothes, and then when it came time to dry them, check my pockets, and I had no money to dry my clothes, and I'm just like, I think I had a little bit. I thought I had enough. I think I was maybe a few quarters short, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I look under the dryer to see if somebody had dropped their quarters or money, or looked kind of around the floor, and luckily I did find crazy. I found what I needed, just enough to dry my clothes for the week. Before I got paid. So definitely there's different things like that happen where you still got to keep your vision focused. Where it's easy to say, man, dude, I'm never gonna get anywhere. And you have the in the back of your mind voices telling you, what are you doing? Like what's I thought you were gonna do this and blah blah blah, and you're gonna reach this goal and you're gonna be this person, but here you are looking for quarters under the dryer machine. I remember didn't have a car, having to walk to work, or borrowing somebody's bike, or asking for rides from my roommates. And I freaking hated asking for rides. I was the type of person where I'd rather just walk, but sometimes I just couldn't walk certain places. Something that was maybe 6 years ago or 7 years ago when we first moved back. I had secured a job as an insurance agent. I had the car for the first month or two, but then Jasmine had to get a job too, so she needed the car. So we had to figure out a way. I mean, we had to be in two different places kind of at the same time. So there was a bus route. There was near the apartment that we lived. So she would drop me off at the bus stop. I would take the bus to work, and it's not like the city where every day, people who are making good money taking the bus, they're taking the train, everything is a little further out here. So like if you're taking the bus, it's because you really, really had to, it's not like, oh, let me just take the bus, whatever. But I still remember on the bus, I'm like, I'm not going to be here long. I know that I got to figure something out to where, I got to save money to buy another car. So that way, once again, there's nothing wrong with riding the bus. But it's just a matter of, where you're at a certain level and that you're wanting to reach another level or, reach another goal. So once again, that vision was clear inside my head, although everything around me showed otherwise. There was a vision like I'm still, one day I'm going to get my own car. So that way I don't have to take the bus anymore. Maxing out my credit cards, getting to the point where I thought we were going to have to get on food stamps, Those are easy situations for you to think or your vision is not, it's kind of blurry, your goals and dreams are blurry, but you just have to keep going. And I think that's one of the things that really helped me, was just continuing to listen to positive stuff, learning new skills. I learned a bunch of skills along the way to implement those skills and be a person of character and working hard and seeking out opportunities. So I think that's one of the things of who I was. There was always a vision of me doing something more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful because it can be tough. It can be
Yeah.
tough when your bank account is looking extra slim. It can be tough when, right, you probably invested everything that you have into, something that, may have not worked, or you have to pivot to make changes. You thought this was going to work, and then you made a change, and then this isn't really working. So you got to make another change. And I mean, just ensuring that, you're made for greatness, and you know that it's coming. It's just a matter of time. And, every day, baby steps, consistent investment within yourself. And as long as you're learning and you're developing, at some point it's going to pay off.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So we covered who is, we covered who was. So now, who are you becoming? Because you're just getting started. You're 32 years old. You're extremely young. 30s is the new 20s. So what do you have? What's in store for Jose Antonio Velasquez in the future?
Yeah. So this gets me really excited because I am learning and have learned just some basic principles and some figuring out things like networking and entrepreneurship and the importance of being physically active. I just, like you said, I feel like I'm just getting started. I there's a lot of things that that are to be accomplished. One, to build wealth, be financially free for my family and for myself. I am trying to become the best family man I can become, the best husband I can be, the best father I can be. I can't say that probably wasn't always did the best job and that I could always improve, and I'm still working on it to do, to really be a good husband, and to be a good father. It's just one of those things that at the end of the day, I think really matters. Be a good son, a brother, uncle, cousin. It's really something that has, maybe I hadn't put too much importance to it in the past, but it's definitely on my radar now. Now to go out there and really be, an awesome husband, awesome father. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm really working to becoming. And then also a man of faith. I think it's one thing I'm really trying to focus on. I think life has its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, there is a higher power. We have to acknowledge it, for what it is. We can choose to ignore it and kind of live our lives, but for some reason, there's always an empty space there if you choose to ignore it. So definitely looking to develop my faith in God. And another thing that I'm really trying to become is, I mentioned it earlier, is financially free and building wealth. Like, I want to have a house on the beach or the country, whatever. Like to get a boat, be able to go to vacation anytime I want to, have the time, freedom to do what I need to for my family and then also for my community. I would say it's harder. It's not impossible, but it's harder to, commit to helping the community if you're stuck working 18-hour days or 12-hour days. Not to say it's not, once again, it's not impossible, but it is something that I really want to do, is really inspire people to go out there and do more for themselves and for their families. And so I definitely want to have that time freedom to be able to give back and encourage others. And I think that's the community leader part too, is I want to once again be able to inspire and be able to be an example. Not to say that, hey, you should look to me for mentorship and advice and I'm the person to go to, but but more just so that there's an example of somebody that people can look to and say, look, this is what I want for myself and for my family. Once again, not to bring any recognition to myself, but so that they know and they understand, hey, there's a better way to do things. There's more out there to life. So, and then also become better in my business. So, looking to reach 7 figures this year as far as my business is concerned. But I want to build a multi-million-dollar painting company that will help me get that time freedom. That'll help me maybe invest in real estate or invest in another business, kind of build an empire here in this area to where, maybe I own 3 or 4 different businesses here, so those are my goals and dreams. And so like I said, I'm super excited. And then lastly, I do want to touch on some of my physical goals. I'm going to go on a half marathon in October, which I freaking hate running. I despise it. Excuse me. But it's something like I'm challenging myself to do, even though I don't like it. Will I do it again? Who knows? I don't know. But I know at least I can say I did it once, Also want to get a marathon under my belt. And I will share this is like you don't put, a lot of people don't put that much importance, and I didn't even put much importance into eating healthier. You don't necessarily have to have a strict diet, but just eating healthier, being physically active, running, whether that's running, jogging, cycling, going to the gym. But it's super important because a few months back, I found myself having some pressure on my chest. And I was dealing with a lot of stress at work. And I was almost 200 pounds. Since then, I've lost 25 pounds. But I thought I was just too busy to do any kind of exercise. I was too busy. I was always on the go. I had to stop by fast food restaurants. So, but then, I had a little scare there and finally I decided, hey, enough's enough, And so I decided to start going back to the gym. And some practical things that I did was I downloaded Gymshark and they had little workouts there. So I decided just to pick one and follow it. As far as eating, I decided to go on a 10-day cleanse. It's a kit that I got at a local chiropractor's office. So I went on that and that kind of helped me develop some new eating habits. And I just had to realize that if I need to perform at a high level, then my body is going to need to keep up with it. So then my body needs to be at a high level as well. Not to say that there aren't successful people eating whatever, not going to the gym. I'm not saying that. Like, you definitely, I feel a lot of people say, oh, you can't be successful, you don't go to, I don't think that's necessarily true. You definitely can be. Right. You definitely can be. But I think, at least for me, one of the things that's helped me with going to the gym and exercising and doing all this, eating healthier, is just how I'm able to manage my stress now versus when I wasn't doing any of those things. Do I still go through stress? Yeah. Do I still worry sometimes? Yeah. But like, it doesn't affect me as much because I'm keeping my body active, you know. And so essentially, if what is it worth having millions of dollars but you're gonna die in 3 months, you know,
Right.
because you just didn't take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of the last thing that I'm really trying to keep up with, and it's hard, but you know, it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worth it. But once again, I feel like I'm getting started. You know, I know there are people that are 22, 23, and they're like, man, I don't know. I haven't figured it out. I should have
I'm
all
not a
my stuff.
millionaire yet.
Yeah, I should have all my stuff together. And here I'm 32. I'm just like, dude, we're just getting started. Like, oh man, like I have at least 50 years, you know, to go accomplish my goals, you know, and you know, so it's like, to me, it's just a different, you know, once again, you definitely can be in my position if you apply these principles at 25, 26, you know. But if you're out there and you're 35, 37, 32, you know, and you think like, oh, the train's already passed me by or has left the station, you know, you're wrong, because like at any moment you can make that switch and things, you know, can be moving forward from there. So yeah.
Well, I feel blessed to have a front row seat to everything that you're becoming, and I don't doubt at all that you will not reach any of your goals. I think you will reach them and exceed them, and I have full faith in that. I have full faith in you, and once again, I appreciate. I'm very, very grateful for your time. I know you're busy, so I definitely want to be respectful of that. But thank you for your time. As I said, I wouldn't have anyone else as the first person. So I'm glad I get to kick off this project with you. I think it'll be very big. So you'll always hold the title of first episode of Ali.
Yeah.
So
I'll have like 10 views, but so when the time this hits real big, you know, at least I'll have bragging rights to say, hey, I was the first one.
Yeah, 10 views. I mean, if you shout it out, then it might shoot up from there. But yeah, no, I'm grateful for you. Very proud of you. And you're going to do very big things.
Yeah.
Continue to do very big things.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very proud of you too, that you've been doing this, you know, maybe getting out of your comfort zone to do a podcast. And I'm excited to see the different, you know, people that you're going to come and have, and how you'll develop it. I know you were talking about, you know, other avenues of how this can develop, or this will be able to develop into. So super, like I said, super excited to see you go out there and make something happen. So I wish you the best, you know, and I know you succeed.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.